Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point on the day Prime Minister Narendra Modi completes 1 full year in office. It's a much anticipated anniversary. Indeed, it's the moment we've all been building up to. Later in part 2, I shall talk to the Defence Minister about key issues concerning his ministry that are at the top of the news. But first, 3 of India's most respected individuals with a deep understanding of the system join me to talk about what sort of first year it's been. They are former Army Chief General Ved Malik, former Foreign Secretary Shyam Saran, and the Chairman of Maruti, R.C. Bhargav. Gentlemen, let's begin by focusing on the big picture, because today is a day when one wants to really understand that. Mr. Bhargav, the Modi government was ushered in with enormous expectations. Has it lived up to them?
You know, Karan, it's a question of what expectations people had. Because when the elections were about to take place last year, nobody expected the government to come back or the BJP to come back with the absolute majority. It was not even certain as to who would become the Prime Minister. And the results surprised everybody. And I think that led people to expect that some kind of miracle now would happen in the next 12 months. But we need to understand that what exactly are we wanting to happen in 1 year's time in India? In our political system, which has a pretty slow decision-making mechanism there, because you have got to go through many steps with many parties. So when people say that has he lived up to expectations, my question is, who expecting it to have happened?
Absolutely, you're right. Depending upon what your expectations were, different people would have had different anticipations of what you do. General Malik, what about the Prime Minister himself? Do you believe he's made a comfortable and easy transition from Chief Minister to Prime Minister? Has he become Prime Ministerial?
Karan, as far as certain social issues are concerned, certain economic issues are concerned, I think he has done well, and his transition has been quite fair. And surprisingly, his transition to foreign affairs, to which he was not exposed at all, that has been very good. But as far as defense is concerned, I'm afraid so far we haven't seen much impact. He started talking in terms of improving our defense industrial base, but as yet I don't see any comprehensive guidelines or documents which would encourage our defense industry to come up, particularly in the private sector. So as far as the defense is concerned, I think his transition has not been as good as we have seen in the external affairs, economic affairs, and particularly the social affairs.
Shyam Saran, let's pick up on what sort of success he's had on foreign affairs. You have an article in today's Economic Times which says that, in fact, the Prime Minister has delivered a most impressive performance on the international stage. Tell me, what are the top 2 things that you have been impressed by in his handling of foreign policy?
Firstly, I think the kind of priority that he has attached to our relations with our neighbors is something which I consider to be completely on track, because I have always felt that unless India is able to manage its own neighborhood effectively, it is very difficult for India to think in terms of any kind of a regional or even a global role. So I think he has got his priorities right, that the neighborhood should be #1 in terms of India's foreign policy priorities, and he has gone about it very effectively.
Mr. Bhargav, I want to focus a little on the handling of the economy. As Mr. Jaitley says, there's no doubt that they take great pride from the fact that inflation is down, the fiscal deficit is contained, CAD is down. On paper, growth is fairly impressive if you go by their 7.5% figure, and they've increased levels of FDI in insurance and defense. But investment is absolutely flat. What is it that's keeping investment flat? Why are investors reluctant to put their money where it counts?
See, I believe the major thing which needs to be done in India is what Mr. Modi actually campaigned for and what he's been talking about, which is to make manufacturing the lead activity for economic revival of India. It's only through manufacturing that enough jobs can be created in India, that there can be inclusive growth, and that we can sustain a 9 to 10% rate of growth. Nobody before all these years has ever given priority to manufacturing. And I think that itself is a major advance in our economic policy making, that we are saying that manufacturing will be lead. In that context, some of the things which have been done are good, like he's opened up the FDI. In defense, he's increased FDI. The Make in India campaign is leading towards that, the Rafale and other things. So I think getting the manufacturing going is a lead time, but it's going to take time. We have a very slow decision-making process. People's thinking has to change.
That's where he has to push.
It's not going to happen quickly.
You know, we're talking about decision-making, General Malik, and I want to bring that into the context of what you were saying about enough decisions in terms of defense not being taken. There's no doubt that a very quick decision was taken on Rafale, which has helped the Air Force, but nowhere near enough. But you know, when you look beyond that, the defense procurement policy is still unannounced. OROP is still hanging in the air. And critical issues like whether we need a chief of defense staff or whether there should be integration of civilian and military staff in the MOD are issues that have been waiting some clarity for 15 years and more. Do you feel that the defense minister and Mr. Modi still have to grapple with some of the essential issues that matter to the three services and are not doing it speedily enough?
Yes, that is true. You know, this government has unnecessarily wasted a few months in the last 1 year because they did not nominate the permanent incumbent as far as the Ministry of Defense is concerned. We had a temporary incumbent for almost 5 months, and then Mr. Parikar took over. And both Mr. Parikar particularly, he apparently has no background of defense, and he's still trying to understand the wide range of activities which the defense has, the kind of complexities it has, and particularly the work culture that defense has. So he has a very major handicap. I believe he's still trying to understand that, and he's still doing firefighting in getting some procurement, making up the deficiencies. But the core issues which you said have not been touched. And I would say these are not only in the Ministry of Defense, but even in the Cabinet Committee of Security. So these are concerning both the CCS and the Ministry of Defense. Those major issues we have not been able to take off.
Now, Shyam Saran, in your article in the Economic Times today, you applaud the Prime Minister's handling of major powers like America, China, Japan. You also applaud his handling of neighborhood countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Nepal. But you point out that the confusion with regard to Pakistan continues, and many would say that in fact the confusion with regard to Pakistan might have got worse under Mr. Modi. Why is it that he's unable to handle this core, key, troublesome neighbor?
Well, I think the issues between India and Pakistan are of a very long-standing nature, and I'm not surprised that it is difficult for any government in India to try and effectively tackle these relations. But let me say this, that I had certainly hoped that we would have broken out under this government, broken out from what I have seen as a kind of a familiar pattern in India-Pakistan relations. That is, we have a dialogue and then that is disrupted because of some reason or the other. Then we resume the dialogue without really making any kind of substantive progress. But I think this government will need to work out a effective strategy to deal with Pakistan. Going back to the familiar sort of ways of handling Pakistan will simply not work. And at this particular point of time, I think it is very necessary to really take stock of the situation, because my sense is that Pakistan, because of the kind of changes that are taking place in the neighborhood, with Pakistan once again, in a sense, in the driving seat as far as the peace process in Afghanistan is concerned, probably believes that it has, after quite some time, somewhat more room for maneuver, and we would probably see a much more difficult Pakistan to handle in the coming days.
Gentlemen,
so very important that we should really rethink our policy towards Pakistan.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask each of you a similar sort of question and ask you for a quick answer. First, you, Mr. Bhargav, how different a country is India today internally, domestically, economically compared to May 2014? A quick answer, sir.
I think we are on a better track than what we were. We have a long way to go yet because many things have to happen. You know, we've changed our energy policy, we'll have coal, but for enough power to be available for industry is going to take at least 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so it's a long road ahead. It's a long road ahead to achieve the sort of change Mr. Modi wants to achieve. Shyam Saran, very quickly, how differently is India viewed by the outside world compared to the way it was viewed in 2014? Did you hear that, Shyam Saran? No, he didn't. Let me come to you,
yes,
sorry. Very quickly, because we're running out of time. How differently is India viewed today by the outside world compared to the way it was viewed in May 2014? A quick answer, please. No, we don't have Shyam Saran. We've clearly lost him. General Malik, let me ask you a similar question, but not identical. Has the way our potential enemies, China and Pakistan, view us changed under Mr. Modi? Would their perception of India have altered because of the way Mr. Modi has conducted himself?
Look, there is a definite change in the operational strategy as far as Pakistan is concerned. Today I find that the commanders in the field, they have got greater autonomy, a greater freedom to act, and that has been shown in the recent past. As far as China is concerned, in any case, since we are in a very close dialogue with them on economic issues and other issues, all I can say is that during his visit, the Prime Minister was able to flag the major issues which had not been flagged earlier. The strategic issues on the line of actual control, having to the visas, the staple visas, and particularly the help being given to Pakistan, the issue of POK, etc. So those have been flagged, which unfortunately had not been done earlier. So to that extent, yes, there is a positive move forward.
We've got Shyam Saran back. Mr. Saran, let me repeat that question that you couldn't hear earlier. How different is the way India is viewed by the outside world today compared to the way the outside world viewed India in May 2014? A quick answer, please.
Oh, there is no doubt that the stock of India has gone up as far as the world is concerned. There is far more interest in India. There is far more kind of enthusiasm for engagement with India. There is a huge perceptional change. What I worry about is that this perceptional change is not perhaps being followed quickly enough through the kind of structural changes, through the kind of systemic changes that are required in India in order to sustain this kind of change that we are seeing happening. That is where I think the weak spot is.
R.C. Bhargav, you were saying to me a moment ago that it's still a long road before Mr. Modi achieves what he wants to achieve. We're running out of time. We have only 20 seconds. What are the top 3 things that you would like Mr. Modi to do in his next year? But really a quick answer because we're running out of time.
Karan, more than that, I'd say Mr. Modi has set us on the right track. He's given us a vision. He's taking his steps. But all of us, including the state governments and each one of us, has to do our part in making that happen. We can't all sit back and say that Mr. Modi has to turn this country around.
But Mr. Bhargav,
all the citizens have nothing to do.
I agree we all have to do things, but what is now just the one thing you would like Mr. Modi to do next year? Just one, because we're out of time.
I'd like the administrative reforms so that the civil service becomes more accountable for what they do.
Okay. And a quick second one, if there is?
Our implementation has to improve. Our implementational capacities of doing things has to improve.
All right, gentlemen.
People have to take decisions.
Better decision-making, faster decision-making, and administrative reforms so that civil servants perform better. My thanks to all 3 of you for joining me. I'm afraid we've run right out of time. After the break, an interview with that man that General Malik was talking about, Manoj Parrikar, the defense minister, talking about many of the issues that are in the news, including that controversy about using terrorists to fight terrorists. What did he mean? Does he regret saying it? And will he be more careful next time? Those are some of the questions.